Don't worry about how fast you make these. Focus on making them bigger each time. And get those elbows up and past the shoulders and the ears. 2 more. Last one. Take the elbows up and then just bring your hands behind your head. Lift your chest up. Let your head gaze to the sky. And then just a little tilt, kind of left to right through the armpits, kind of working our ribs a little. And 4, 3, 2, and release the right arm down. And we're going to pulse in this side bend. Inhale and exhale it up. And 3, 2, and we release and we switch. Left hand slides down, right hand behind your head, and just a little side bending pulse. Using the exhales to help activate through the abdominals. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Push forward, round through the spine, and draw the elbows back, pull the chest forward, and we round, and we pull forward. And round, and 2, 1. Last one, just the ribs, and of course fix your pants, shirts, anything at any point, just the ribs slide. And 4, 3, 2, now just through the ribs, this little spin. Now don't let the hips move, it's just from the bottom rib and up. Getting movement and activation through our thoracic. 4, 3, 2, and release. Bring those hands down to your sides. Slide the right hand down to the right knee. Exhale it back up. And we switch left hand to left knee. Inhale down and exhale. So deeper side bends using our hips to stabilize. Inhale and exhale it up and across. And 4, 3, 2, and release. Bring the hands to just above your knees. Bend the knees, and we're going to wave the spine forward, up, and heart forward and down. Rise up, but don't lengthen the legs too much. Focus on the spine, doing the wave. Inhale and exhale. Last one, round up nice and slow. Come all the way up. We're going to work our way into the hips. Just nice big hip circles. Stretching out the sides and possibly hamstrings depending on how far forward you bend. So listen to your body. See if you want to go lower, and maybe not. Maybe today's the day you take it easy, and maybe today's the day you're like, nah, I'm going like all the way. But just, don't make yourself motion sick. And bring it up through center, straight legs, nice tick-tock, just side to side. Checking in with hips, checking in with the ground underneath your feet. Kind of noticing where you're feeling a little sticky or a little stuck. And we smooth out the edges by softening the knees, and more of a sway now with the hips, left to right, more of the sway. And each sway, I'm pushing into the opposite foot. So when my hip comes up to the left, I'm pushing into my right foot, and then I switch. 5, 4, 3, 2, and heels in, toes out, just a little angle, straight leg tick-tock. Still doing just the tick-a-tock, tick-a-tock, tick-tock, tick. That wasn't really English, but who cares, right? 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to start adding more of the lower limbs. I want you to lift up the left knee and bend the left, lift up the left heel, bend the left knee, not bend the heel. That would require some interesting mechanics. And now we're going to switch. Right heel up, right knee bends. And we're going to switch, and with this switch, we're going to lean into this. Lean into the left. We're going to switch and lean to the right. Left. Right. and left. So this is a little tricky. We're creating a little bit of a rhythm with our knees out to the side. Our ankles are up, feeling possibly a little vulnerable. 2 more. Whoop. And last one. Bring the heels just a little closer. And now we're going to take it into a wide-ankled, open hip heel march. Knees pointing out to the side. So it kind of looks a little wonky, and that's on purpose. We're doing wonky on purpose. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and heels down, straight legs, heel raises, calf raises, just straight up and down, up and down. Up and down, up and down. 5, 4, 3, 2, toes forward, heel march, adding a little hip beat it to the left and right. Heel march, hips left to right. Keeping it pretty simple to get us moving, to get us started. But we're going to build up to some other movements. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and heels down. Right foot only. Tap it in and out. Now we're going to add some layers to this. Right now it's just focusing on that thigh, internally, externally rotating. Now I want to add a little hip push. So the toes come to the right, the hip comes to the left. It's a little awkward movement, but we usually get the hang of it after 1 or 2 tries. 5, 4, 3, 2, and switch. Left foot. Tapping in and out. Just in and out. Thinking about this rotation. Noticing if one side feels maybe a little tighter than the other without judgment, but just noticing, listening to your body. Now we're going to start to add that little dip. And it's pushing the hip to the side and bending the standing leg. Getting a little bit of rotation through the hips, which of course means you have to pay attention to what your abdominals are doing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it up. Give your legs some shakes. Noticing ankles, toes, knees, and everything in between. 3, 2, and we're going to warm up for our kettlebell work. And then we'll go to the dumbbells, but kettlebell work will be first. But first, I want us to think about the movement. So option 1, you're just going to add a step back. Just a very simple step back. This can be the place you stay, and I'm okay with that. Now, the next place to take this would be more of a lunge and letting your whole body shift weight into that back leg. Now, we're going to add a layer to this before we grab our kettlebell, and it's when my right foot stays forward and my left foot goes back, I'm taking my left arm up. Right foot back, right arm up. So what this means is once we get the kettlebell, we're going to be doing one side for a while before we switch sides. So, and then the options, and of course, anytime you don't want to use the kettlebell, if it's too heavy, switch to a dumbbell or laundry jug, something different. And you could just keep it resting. Or, side view, it's a step back, pressing up. Don't worry about how fast you go. Take it steady. You could stay here, lighten up the load. Three, 2, 1. We switch sides. So again, with or without the weights, you could just step it back. Go for the lunge. And we're going to push up when the leg comes back. Bring everything into neutral. Noticing that my body is still shifting into that back leg, but I'm counterbalancing it with my arm going to the sky. You can keep the arm, rest it here if you want. Take the weight off completely. 3 more. 2. And bring it in. Release. Whew. That gets the legs warm and the arms if you're doing the press. So now, arms in front. Our swings, but we're going to start off our swings with more of a deadlift movement. So flat back, tilt back. Don't go super low. Focusing on lining up hips and shoulders in a nice long line. Now, the next time we come up, it's only going to be a half a swing. Now watch, it's lean down and then halfway. Halfway. I'm keeping my elbows tucked in, so I'll come in a little closer. It's a tilt. It's a small movement. Five, 4, 3, 2, and pause. Back to single leg stuff, just because, just because. Right leg stays down, left leg back. Both hands can hold the weight or not, your choice. You're gonna lean forward, but as you lean forward, the hips move back and I'm putting weight into that back foot. Exhale, squeeze up. So this is not just a deadlift. There's a little bit of a lunge. It's like a lunge and a deadlift had a baby. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step, switch. So you can always do this without a weight. Same movement, just nothing in your hands. Now, as you tilt back, you're putting weight into that back leg. Exhale, squeeze up. And I'm purposely dipping the kettlebell between, because otherwise if I go forward, I'm just going to whack it off my shin. So this is less of a swing as it is just a squeeze straight up, keeping the hands close to your ribs, thrusting hips forward by pushing off the back foot. Yes, we're going to swing soon, don't worry. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now before we do this with the kettlebell, I want to point out something for the next swing, because we're going to do single arm swings. A lot of people, when they take their arm back, they do this buckling with the knees at a funky angle. So we want to be able to keep the knees forward and just move the hips a little and swing the arm back versus bending and torquing the knees. So without the kettlebell, soft the knees and it's a swing back. So don't torque the hips too far to the side. And then with the weight, I'll show side view first. It's a swing back and I switch hands. So notice my knees still point forward. Good grip as you swing left to right. Do not lose the grip because you might throw your kettlebell into your laptop or the wall or breakable furniture. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Heels in, toes out, still holding the kettlebell. Little pulse. Straight up and down sumo. Now make sure you're not leaning into the spine. Staying tall. And don't go as low as you can, because you need some more energy for the other stuff. It's more of a pulse. Using exhales. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rise up. Bring those legs back in. Switch the weight over to the right side. With or without the weight, you can still do this movement, and you can always downsize to a dumbbell if it's too heavy. Option 1, side bend. Now what we're not doing is letting the hips do the movement. We're moving the ribs. This is our option 1. Option 2, bending that right knee, lifting up the right heel, and still going to the side, but not shifting the hips. And I'm purposely taking the weight just a little bit behind the calf. Inhale, exhale, just that way I'm not hitting my own leg and giving myself more bruises that I don't really need. Inhale, exhale up. Inhale, exhale, 4, 3, 2, and bring it up, and we switch sides. So option 1, just the side bend. And even if you want to build up to the next option, I'm going to encourage you to at least do 1 or 2 at the beginning, just to get your body used to a different side. And then when you're ready, bend that left knee, lift up the left heel. Inhale and exhale. Now this is not about how low you can get the dumbbell or the kettlebell or the weight. This is more about control, not letting the hips shift too far left and right, focusing on the movement happening in the spine, the ribs, the obliques. And you're not hiking that shoulder up to pull the weight up. Think of the weight in your arm just as decoration. Just don't lose your grip on the decoration. 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm just going to wipe off my hands because they're kind of sweaty, but we're going to go back to a single arm, and we're going to swing this time between the legs. So get nice and wide stance. And when we swing down, I'm going to suggest the other hand comes out to kind of brace yourself, but you could just keep it low if that feels more comfortable. Swing means tilting the hips back. It's not squatting down, it's tilt back and shift up. So let's start swinging. One arm down, and you switch hands at the top. Shift the hips back, nice swing. Keeping it simple, but strong. Brace the drop of the kettlebell with your core. Use exhales to push up and back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! How are we feeling? We're going to lean and tap. Don't worry about the kettlebell for a moment. We're going to grab it in just a minute. Now, kick your own bum. Heel it back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it in. Side kick. Don't kick your kettlebell. Just fling it to the side. Shake things out. kettlebell before we switch over into our dumbbells. So this is where all that previous work was kind of prep work for this. What we're not doing is doing a whole bunch of torquing the knees. We're gonna pass the kettlebell through, forward and behind. So you're doing a figure 8 with the kettlebell. Now you get to choose if you come down, around, up, or stay low. So I'll demonstrate the low version where you just stay. And we just pass it through. Now the other option is to pull up and through. I find that one more challenging, which is fine if you want to challenge yourself. Focus on bending down through the knees versus bending at the hip so that you don't blow your back out. 4, 3, 2, and bring it down. Grab your dumbbells or whatever handheld weights you're using. Give yourself a little shimmy shake, because you know, that's a lot with your back with the kettlebell. So let's just start with very simple, plain old hammer curls. Up and down. Now hammer curls mean that your thumbs, knuckles are forward versus palms up. Good. You got this. Keep those elbows tucked in nice and tight towards the ribs. Stay tall through your spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it up halfway, halfway. Keep those elbows in, squeeze to the side and back. Keeping those wrists at around elbow height, and make sure when the hands come out that you're not doing some funky chicken here with the back. Stay with me for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release, but don't drop those weights. Just a nice shoulder roll up and back. We're gonna start with the first part of the movement, and then we're gonna add a layer. So bear with me. Right arm forward and down. Left arm forward and down. When the arm comes forward, the palms are down. Right and left. Right and left. Now the layer comes in. When my right arm goes forward, my left arm does a bicep curl scoop. No, yeah, arm out and down. So it's combining arm raises and a little tuck back, bicep curl halfway. And if your brain is screaming at you right now the way mine is, as in like, what the hell is she doing? That's good. New movement. Left, right brain coordination required. 4, 3, 2. Last one. And finito. Ooh, roll the shoulders up and back. So sometimes the movements don't have to be harder, but if they're a bit more complicated where your brain has to work and coordinate with the body, it actually ends up being harder. It's one of those fun things. So when I say fun, you know, the different F word. Bring the hands to your shoulders, elbows tucked in. We're gonna start off with just a little shoulder pump, just a little whoop whoop. Can I get a whoop whoop? and you know, if you're at home and you know you're on mute, you can whoop whoop all you want. Now add a little mini dip. Now from here, little dip and tap. Doesn't have to be a big squat, just a little dip and lean. The lean is gonna make you work your core. And is your instinct wanting you to take one arm up higher than the other? Don't do it. Keep both hands pumping the same way. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it down. I'm starting to squeal because my arms are saying some really bad words. Let's ease up. So option 1 is going to be just a tricep kickback. Option 2, we're going to throw in a static lunge. So pick a foot, any foot, if you're going to do the static lunge, and take the other leg back, lean forward, and we just kick back. So this is tricep kickback with static lunge, or we just stay here, both legs together. The reason I want you to lean is to make your triceps work a little harder, getting those weights up. So if you're doing a static lunge, we're going to stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We step and we switch legs if we're doing the static lunge, but we're leaning forward, not into our spine. Kick back. Or just plain old kickbacks. 5, 4, 3, 2, and don't release as in drop. Hold the weights. Give me a shoulder shimmy. Shoulder shimmy. And then a little wiggle. Be mindful if you're shoulder shimmering that you don't just drop your weights on your feet, because, you know, not a good idea. Now twist it out. Turn it into twist. Left and right, left and right. You can add a hop depending on how heavy your weights are. My weights right now are saying, girl, 3 kilos each at each hand. Nah, no hopping. So I'm gonna listen, but encourage you to add whatever hop and twist and wiggle you can for 5, 4, 3, 2, and pause. Last thing here before we come to the floor, halfway, and it's a halfway pulse. Just a small little pulse. So our hands, our biceps, don't get any rest, don't get any break. 5, 4, 3, where was I? 10, no, 1, and bring it down. We're gonna come all the way onto the floor. We are gonna start in tabletop with no equipment to get us started. So first just give yourself a chance to kind of like work out any kinks in your spine. When we're doing a lot of heavy kettlebell work, our spine, our back often feels that, so just give yourself a chance to do a little wiggle. Forward, down, around, and back, upside down. Just not inside out. That'd be kind of weird and creepy, I think. Yeah. So, now I want you to take back the left leg. Now, before the left leg goes back, make sure that you didn't pull the right knee in front of the hips. So I have to be mindful because my body automatically wants to do that cheat. So my hips are in front of the knees. Check that you're not arching your spine, you're pulling your belly button up and away from the floor. Lift up the toes just a little bit. Hold them there, and then kick out to the side and back. Keeping the foot just an inch or two off the ground, so front view, it looks a little like this. Like, woo, look, my leg shows up. Then, whoop, the leg. We're not going up and down. Now, when we take the leg to the side, what we don't want is this variation where people kind of lean and kind of open their hip. 4, 3, 2, 1, bring that knee in, and then we switch. Right leg back. Check that the hips didn't try to scooch back, because they like to do that. Leaning forward just enough without arching the back. Pull up, float the right toes. Pause here, check in. If your knee that's on the ground needs more support, grab a blanket or a cushion. Now we hover and bring the leg out to the side without moving anything else. So this isn't about the ribs and a whole bunch of wiggly side to side. It's focusing on just the leg, going out to the side, keeping the toes off the ground by a few inches. Exhale it out and back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring it in. Forearms come down now. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. take those knees back. We're coming first into a kneeling plank, and I want you to stay in this kneeling plank even if you've got energy for more, because I'm purposefully taking you through some contractions here. So if you relax the shoulders, it kind of looks like you're buckling, and you want to push the floor away, push the forearms in the ground. Pull tailbone forward without shifting the hips back. So pull tailbone forward and contract, pull elbows towards knees. Stay in this contraction and keep breathing. Don't pulse in and out of it. Just stay here. By about your third or fourth breath, there's hopefully some shaking going on because you're pulling so hard with your elbows towards your knees. And then relax, but don't drop the hips. Tuck the toes if you want to take it up a notch, or stay on your knees. Come off the knees onto your toes. And now a little hip wiggle, left to right. Stay with me a little longer. If you need to, drop to your knees, drop to your knees. Listen to your body. But find that place where you can dance along the edge of your comfort zone. 5, 4, 3, 2, release those knees down, come all the way onto your belly. We're going to do more with our dumbbells and our kettlebell in just a moment, but first some classical Pilates, coming nice and low. Now the goal here is not to arch into your lower back, but we are going to flutter kick the legs. So what we're not doing is bending at the knees. Focus on the whole thigh coming off the ground, keeping the hips level. This is going to require some core activation. Now, once you've got one or two legs up and, once or twice, see if you can float and flutter kick both legs. Staying really low to the ground with your chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Relax it down. Rock the hips left to right. Now I'm just going to make sure I don't hit my head on anything, because that could be a thing here. I want you to come to the far side of your mat if you're using a mat. If you've just got whole floor, then just use as much space as you can. We're going to take the arms up overhead, long line, and then we're going to use our abdominals to contract, bring the arms and legs up, and we're going to roll onto our back with our legs up, and then shift. Roll onto your belly. Roll, and only choose one direction you're going to go. Back onto the belly. It's the look, ma, no hands. Stay on your back. We're going to do that again on the other side, but right now we're staying on our back. We're going to grab our kettlebell, our heavy weight if we can, or our dumbbell, and we're going to hold it, we're going to brace it, not over our heads, but past our heads. And we're just going to keep it there, nice and stable. Check that the ribs are not flaring up. Push those ribs down into the ground by hugging them in. Feel like you're lacing up a corset, perhaps, if that's your thing. Shoulder blades down and back. Next level would be to float your legs up, but don't let those knees come higher than your hips. Keep them at hip height or a little lower. You could even just take one leg up and drop it down. Float both legs in table, and then maybe extend one leg long and bring it back without compromising the position of your lower back and the tension created between your bottom ribs and your hips, and the back bottom ribs and the back of your hips. Inhale, exhale it up. Let's do one more each side. If you're doing this one, otherwise just stay and hold. Pause, rock forward and back till you come all the way up into seated. That just made me burp. My hair is doing some fun things, but that's okay. We're going to come seated with our legs nice and wide, because we're going to still do that rolling on the other side. I shouldn't talk with a hair clip in my mouth, should I? So, classical saw before we come to the other side. Nice and tall. You can start off really straightforward, just a little twist and reach. Now, as you twist, whatever hand is reaching behind, your internal rotation to reach down and back. Inhale, exhale. You can take it deeper and lower if the flexibility is there. If not, reach where you can. Inhale, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keeping that kettlebell close by because we will use it one more time. We're going to come onto our other side though, because we're going to do that rocking from belly to back. So we're going to reach long, roll back, and up. Roll onto the belly. Woo! If you have to pee, or if you had a really big dinner or lunch before doing this, this is not going to feel good. But we squeeze up, and it's the core that brings us around, and a little bit of our limbs contracting, moving. Next one on your back, stay. And release. Take a deep breath, bend your knees, have your heels in line with your hips. We're going to grab our kettlebell and place it on our thighs. Now you can place it all the way up on the thighs, really reach. If you don't have to pee, you can kind of let it rest at the bottom part, close to your pubic bone, aka your bladder. So just decide where you want it, but don't let go because it'll fall back on you when you lift the hips up. Exhale, squeeze up into a glute bridge. And this is where I just use my fingertips to keep it flush against my thighs. And I pulse halfway. Halfway pulse. Squeezing up and down. Use the exhales. Push into the feet. Push into all 4 corners of the feet. Stay with me for 5, 4, 3, 2, and release it down. Holding onto that kettlebell or the weight, whatever you've got, we're going to rock forward and back. Rounding the spine, pulling up, 2 more. Placing it off to the side. Going to take the feet forward, having them wider than your hips. Not sure what's going on here. And we're going to let both knees drop to the right. And now it's just the left leg. Bring it up and down. Lay down silently. 3, 2, let's bring it over to the other side. This is my tender hip. Out and in. Use exhales to give it a little extra pull up and down. Using exhales. 5, 4, 3, 2, and take both feet wide, reach down, grab the outer edges of the feet. So this is like what you would do if you were lying on your back to do happy baby pose. Now instead of rounding, pull the chest through, lift up tall through the spine. Take a deep exhale and switch your grip over to your big toes. Walk them in, walk them out. Just little, and then walk them any which way that just, pretend you're 3 and you really don't care. And then bring feet together, knees wide. Coming into a cobbler's pose, butterfly pose. And there's gonna be 2 things. One, let's just for fun, see how close you can bring your heels to your groin. Like, if you need to make some weird groaning noises to get there. And once you're there, give them a little flutter. Just see how it feels. And then notice, does it feel different when you pull your chest forward, rounding the spine? Or when you hold on to the ankles and the feet and pull your chest up tall and try to get taller through the crown of your head? Now, depending on what's feeling tender, this will feel very different, either forward fold or lengthening up. but both options will continue to create this open space through hips, inner thighs. So depending on what's happening in your body, pick one, stay there for at least 3 more breaths. And then let's release. Take that right leg out to the side. Left heel comes in close. And just a little sway, wobble, reach. This is where the practice gets to be really dorky because it's kind of about wiggling into a stretch versus being prim and proper. Nothing wrong with prim and proper, but right now, just loosen up. Pretend you're 3, pretend you're 4. Pretend you're a dog. Dogs really just like bleh, all over the place. So, now when I go forward, my bum cheek comes off the ground. So that's something interesting to note. And then we switch legs. Woof. Left leg out to the side, right heel to groin. And again, it's that tall, it's that sway, it's that wiggle, it's that slide and reach. It's the rock. No, it's the twist, it's the just playing around. See what happens here. Finding that spot that feels good and maybe breathing into that spot. I've noticed so often we find a good spot for something, or we have a good moment. And we take a breath and we move on, and we don't stop, we don't pause to enjoy that moment or that spot. And let's go ahead, take the leg long to match the other leg. I'm going sideways so you can see what we're doing. Heels are going to be in, toes out, and knees out to the side. And we're going to walk the bum closer to the heels, keeping the feet in the same spot, and then walk the bum back. Back to straight legs, and then come halfway forward, just halfway forward, because from here we're going to plant those heels down, bend the knees, and we're going to round back 1 vertebrae at a time. Hug those knees into your chest or to the outside of your ribs. Rock a little side to side. Reach up, grab the outer edges of your feet, find a happy baby pose, or dead bug pose, I've heard it called in Scotland. And go ahead, bring those feet together, and then all the way to the ground, and let's just sway our knees. And as you sway your knees, feel into what's happening in your back, your waist. Woo. If at any point you want to yawn, that's also totally acceptable at this point in our practice. Just a nice little sway. I'm going to take a deep breath. Exhale, circle the arms up to the sky. Inhale, reach the fingertips. Exhale, draw those knees in, rock yourself forward and back till you come into a seated, and take a moment and say, oh, that was strong and that was fusion, and we are done. Woo!